Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. I'm so excited for this week's episode. Today I have on my dear friend Rachel Johnson. And me and Rachel, honestly, like freshman year we met, we're in the same Bible study with our freshman year small group leaders, Anna Beatles and Allison Jackson. And it was so sweet. I feel like a lot of times I would go when you wouldn't go. So we'd kind of like
Yeah.
swap. But it was just every time I'd see Rachel in there, I'd be like, her heart is just so joyful, and you just always had this big smile on your face. And I was telling her the other day, we both go to Newspring, and that's something she's going to be talking about on the podcast. But I was at a worship night, and I just saw her just like literally just. It just looked like you were just on fire for the Lord, and just the Holy Spirit was just like highlighting like on your heart, like when you're worshiping, and it was so beautiful. And I reached out to her. I was like, I would love for you to just come and share just about the Lord. But yeah, that's enough of me talking. Rachel, if you want a little talk about who you are, what you do, all that. So
Yeah. So I was so excited when you asked me to do this. I remember when I saw your text come up my phone, I was like, oh my gosh, I have not talked to Olivia in so long. I was just so excited. Um, my name is Rachel. I'm from Aiken, South Carolina, and I'm 21 years old, a junior now at Clemson, studying early childhood education. It's crazy that junior year is already here. Does not feel like it at all.
yeah.
So basically, I started going to Newspring Aiken when I was a junior in high school. And just love it, fell in love, and just knew that when I came to Clemson, I really wanted to get involved at the Clemson campus. Um, so freshman year was awesome. A lot of growing, a lot of learning. And I'm so thankful I met Olivia in freshman year. But yeah, that's just a little bit about me and my Clemson little journey.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I was telling someone, I think, because I used to go to Life Point freshman year, love Life Point, but I was like looking for something where like my parents could go to the church, like, because I live in Greenville, and like I could go to Clemson one, and like we still like have the family connection of like going to
Yeah.
the same church. And so that was one of the reasons I like ended up going to New Spring. And I remember you always sending me like the morning prayer, and like the worship nights, like text about that. And I'd always be like, wait, that's so cool. Like I need to start going. And so honestly, like it was, if it wasn't for you, I probably wouldn't be going to New Spring.
Oh my goodness, I'm so glad. I just remember meeting you freshman year, and I was like, "Wow, I know we're gonna be friends." Like, it was just, like, one of those interactions where I was like, "I know we're gonna be
I know.
friends."
I feel bad. Like the last 2 years have been like so crazy that we need to actually like start doing more things together.
Yes.
But
Yes.
well, tell me a little bit more about just like New Spring. I know you kind of like talked a little bit about it, but like you said, you're doing an internship at New Spring.
Yes.
What does that entail?
In 2023, the Lord put on my heart at our summer camp just his heart for kids ministry. And I reached out to the director at the time, which I had already known her a little bit and already started serving at the Clemson campus, but really just shared like what the Lord had put on my heart for kids ministry, and just wanted to like be involved as much as I could. And so little did I know the Lord was already working behind the scenes. And so basically an internship spot opened up this past summer, and she was like, you should apply for it. And so I did, and it was just an amazing process. Just the interview process was amazing, just being able to share my heart with the staff and just being able to open up to them. So basically I work with Kids Spring, which is the kids
Mhm.
ministry at New Spring,
Okay.
and I kind of just do a lot of behind the scenes and prep for a Sunday, and also just help on a Sunday morning, and just make sure everything's going smoothly, and I get to love on volunteers and get to love on kids, and truly get to show them who Jesus is and prepare spaces for them to encounter Jesus on their level. And so basically, we have babies starting in Wonderway, and then kids all the way going up to Shockwave, which will be
Nice.
fifth grade. And so it's just amazing to get to see like all the different age groups of kids just learning about Jesus, like on their specific
Yeah.
level. And so it's just a really amazing thing I get to do, and just get to love on kids and truly just shine the love of Jesus. So yeah.
That's awesome. And so I guess like growing up, did you all like I guess you're early elementary? Okay.
Yeah.
So you've always had like this love for kids. So it's kind of been something that's always been in your heart, which is really special.
Yeah. So, I'm trying to think. I didn't decide to do education until my senior year of high school.
Okay.
And so I went on a mission trip with Young Life to Baja, Mexico,
Oh,
where
cool.
we went to an orphanage. And at this time, I'd previously thought about doing, physical therapy. I was like, I want to go the medical route, and I thought I loved everything like athletics and physical
Mhm.
therapy. And so on this mission trip, we got to go to an orphanage, and I got to interact with a lot of kids who were just trying to follow Jesus the best they could. And the orphanage that we went to was just really great about teaching kids about Jesus. And so that was really fun. And I just remember encountering kids who like had really bad home lives, but still were just like clinging on to the Lord. And I was like, Lord, like, what are you doing? Like, I'm getting attached to these kids. Like, this is just so cool. And so basically, I came back from that trip and I was like, education. I know I want to be around kids 24/7. And that is just what the Lord drew me into. And He's just been so faithful in it all. So it's been really
Wow.
cool.
Which I feel like you need to be a very patient, joyful person for that, and, like, you definitely are. So, like, not everyone can do that. I remember I went in Clemson being an education major, and
Mhm.
I went to it was like a day in the life of an education major. Did you ever go to that before?
I
Like
think I went to one and like walked. They kind of like took you through a day of like what it would look like, and then
Yes.
do all the things.
Yeah. So I went with my parents, and I remember there was, like, arts and crafts, like, class, and you sit in little kid chairs and, like, do the arts and crafts, and I was, like, looking at them like, "I don't think I can do this. I don't think I could, like, be a teacher," and I just remember in that moment, I couldn't do arts and crafts, so I switched my major. But, like, kudos to you for, like, having just that desire, because I wish I did, but,
Yeah.
like, it's so cool to see the different gifts that the Lord places in our hearts for different things, you know?
I wish I had that creative side. I feel like sometimes I'm not the best creative person, but I love the kids. So, the
Yeah.
creativity will just come as it comes.
There
But
you go. So, do you like for, like, that major, do you, like, shadow different schools? Is that what you do now, or is
yeah,
that
so basically we have placements. And so
Yeah.
they send us out each semester to a different placement school. And so this past semester I was with 3K. And so that
Oh.
was an experience. So it was so fun. But I think the grade that I really like the most and what I want to do for student teaching
Yeah.
is like kindergarten or first grade.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay, yeah, I feel like you'd be so cute. Oh my gosh, you should, like, make those TikToks, like,
I know,
things
I see those people doing it all the time. I'm like,
Yes!
I don't know,
Like,
but
what they have to call you Miss Johnson, right? Not Miss
mhm,
Rachel?
yeah,
Okay, because it would've been cute if they were like, "Miss Rachel," like,
I know.
calling that,
Oh my
but Miss
goodness.
Johnson. But yeah, it would be so cute you doing, like, outfits of the day or something on
Mhm,
TikTok.
yeah,
The little kids. That's
goodness.
sweet. Oh, well, I love that. Do you ever see yourself, like do you think you wanna go full-time, like, education, or do you ever see yourself going full-time, like, ministry at all with kids?
Yeah, so, I actually just talked about that this morning, so
Really?
yeah, love talking about that. So basically with this internship is basically so there's actually 3 interns at Clemson right now. So there's
Okay,
me and then 2 others who are with Fuse and with guest services.
okay.
But basically with Newspring, they had like an internship crew. There's like 16 of us total from all different campuses. And we have a director, and basically, the whole mission of our internship is to build the person building the kingdom. And so,
Cool.
truly, there's like a personal growth side that we're like, we read books, we do assignments, we do interviews, we do all these things to build
Wow.
ourselves so that we're able to build the kingdom in the specific ways that like the Lord has led us to.
Yeah.
And through this process, a lot of it has just been unearthing like if my purpose and calling is to minister or is it to teaching. And
Mhm.
I think that I've just narrowed it down to like not viewing everything as, secular or
Right.
spiritual, but really viewing everything as spiritual and just
Yeah.
trusting the Lord that like if he wants me in full-time ministry, I'm great to head that direction. But also if he wants me loving on kids in a classroom, I'm great to go that way
Right.
too.
And, like,
So
being in a classroom is a ministry,
yeah.
like, which is a
Yeah.
really cool thing. Wow. That's so funny. I had to ask you that. That's funny that you, like, talked about that earlier.
Mhm.
Oh, well, one of the things that me and Rachel kind of were I, like, text her. I was like, "Hey, like, do you have anything on your heart that you'd love to just talk about?" And one thing that she was just telling me in her internship was just learning about just, like, the Lord's heart for, like, his children and, like, how we can walk through that identity and, like, alongside that, and I would love to just hear everything that this has taught you and just advice for listeners just wanting to learn more about that too.
Yeah, I think coming into this process, I was very excited to personally just love on kids and, be excited to do that. But I never knew the Lord would meet me in that and just remind me of like, I'm a child of God and I get
Mm,
to have that amazing relationship with God and He delights in me. And so through this process, I really have just been able to see God's like heart for His kids, the way that He's given me intentionality to steward the things that He's given me well, but also just to depend on Him a lot more. And
yeah.
so truly going back to the basics of just being a child of God first and then letting, the works and the behind the scenes thing just like play out. And so basically for me, it's just been coming to like prayer and just being with God in prayer and just knowing that He delights in hearing from me.
Mm, mhm,
And I've just been able to truly see His heart for His children the way that I get to, love on them on a Sunday and just speak to their parents and make sure that they are just feeling seen and loved because that is the most important thing I want is for each kid to feel seen and loved.
yeah,
And so God has just really given me a view from like the way that He sees us as being seen and loved is what He wants me to like love on kids too. And
yes.
so basically through this internship there was a verse that came to mind when I first applied for it, and so it talks about in Proverbs 22 where it says train up a child the way he should go, even when he is old he will not depart from it. And that just like reminds me that every time that I get to love on a kid or teach them about Jesus, I'm teaching them of eternal things.
Yeah.
And so very practically about teaching them about Jesus on their level means that they get to experience eternity with God whenever they're saved. And that is just something I always have to remind myself of is that even if kids at this age, like God's still doing amazing work in them. And I get to like see that, even if I don't see that like in them right now, I may be able to see the fruit of that later on. And so it's just been a really cool experience. And God's just been so kind to really just give me His heart for His children and just give me a deeper understanding of how I can just be impactful in kids' lives. So yeah.
Mm, that's awesome. As you were talking, I was just thinking about just like a childlike faith, sorry. And, like, I bet it's so inspiring seeing these little kids just, like
Mhm.
honestly, it's like, like, just, like, when we're young, we believe in all these things that we
Mhm.
grow up and learn about, and then it's just, like, everything in the world is, like, possible as a kid, like, they can
Yeah.
dream so big, and, like, does it inspire you to, like, keep having a childlike faith? I know you've kinda touched on that, but, like, seeing these kids and being like, "Whoa, like, I can act like that too when it comes to learning
Mhm.
about the Lord," but
Yeah, it's been really cool to, like, see some kids actually step into salvation,
Oh,
and so that's been amazing, and just their, like, curiosity for God has really stirred
mhm.
my curiosity for God, and just the questions they're bold in asking, it's just like, they're not scared to ask these questions,
Yes.
and I'm like, "I wanna be like that." Like, Lord, give me that kind of faith that I'm just not scared to ask, and I'm just so bold, and so truly just working and just being alongside of kids daily has just been able to help me, with my relationship with God and just
Mhm.
asking bold prayers and just knowing that God hears me, and so
Yeah.
that's just been really cool to see.
Yeah. Wow, that is so cool. I know I was, like, trying to think of this time. I was trying to pull it up, but I'll find it in a minute, but I remember, like, this little kid I was with, I think it was, like, my mom's daughter who was, like, I think 8 at the time, but she
Okay.
would just ask all these questions about the Lord and make me be like, "Oh my gosh," like, I never thought of that perspective, but it's so funny because when we were young, like, we thought the same things, I feel like, and as we grow older, like, we lose, like, how,
Mhm.
like, we were when we were younger, and so it's just so sweet going back and just being inspired by younger kids, and I'm sure that every day you get to see something new and probably laugh a bunch from what they think too. Has anything in, like, the kids' spring or even, like, student teaching, have people, like, asked you questions that you're like, "I don't know, like, that's funny," like, I don't know, through like, about Jesus?
Oh my
Do you
gosh,
know
I'm
the
trying to think.
story?
Um, oh my goodness,
I know, I don't mean to stump you,
no,
but
you're
sometimes
good. I'm
funny.
trying to remember if there's been I feel like there has been specific ones that I'm like, "Where'd you get that from?"
Yeah.
Where have you heard that one? Because that is not what I told you, or that's not what I guess I showed you.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes kids can, like, look at we'll have, like, pictures of Bible stories,
Yeah.
and sometimes, like, I'll lay out the pictures and see if they can, like, tell me, like, the
Like,
story without me reading it, and sometimes their interpretations are just really silly and very funny, and so you never know what you're gonna get, but it's very cool that they ask and, like, can imagine things, so
yeah. In your training, do they, like, tell you, like, how to, like, handle certain things, like, before that? And is that different than, like, just normal serving? Like, do interns have to learn more, or how does that work?
So basically, no, we don't really learn anything more than a volunteer would learn on a Sunday.
Mhm.
So volunteers have like a small group curriculum to follow basically. And as they go through that curriculum, they go through all the like the Bible story. There's like a game they play, there's like memory verses and things like that.
Sweet.
And there's questions to go along with the Bible story that really do stir like kids' curiosity. And
Mhm.
so basically there's like answers they give us at the bottom just to like keep everybody on track with like what we're doing. And so usually when kids like will say like a random answer, I'm like, oh, try that was great, but try again, like, just to encourage them, but,
Yeah.
yeah, they do have a very good layout of, like, how to keep things rolling, so
That's funny. I
Mhm.
just, found the thing that my little, like, friend I quoted it. I remember putting it in my notes, and she goes, "Sometimes fires are good because old plants die so new plants can grow." And that can be in the Bible too. And I was like, "Wait," because we were literally driving in California where there was, like, a fire that happened. And she was like, like, sometimes fires are good, like, in our spirits." Isn't
That's
it
amazing.
funny? And I was like,
That's
"Wait."
awesome.
I was like, "That's biblical truth." Like,
Yep,
sometimes, like, the old has to go out so the new thing can come in.
yep. That's amazing.
That's funny. Oh, well, I love just hearing those stories and just
Yeah.
how you guys, like, train to, like, show these kids because honestly,
Mhm.
like, you don't know, like, how their home lives are. So, you guys could be the only people pouring into their lives, which is even cooler to see that, like, they could be just coming with their grandparents or coming with their friends' family. And
Yeah,
so that's I bet that's really special too, just getting to be that light for just such young kids because when they're older, they're gonna remember you guys,
yeah.
and yeah.
It's really cool because I did not know the Lord, like, at that age, and so
Um,
just being able to, like, pour into these kids and just have this, like, urgency because I want them to, like, know the Lord,
yeah.
and just, like, wanting to see that fruit in their lives to come, just gives me a different sense of urgency for them to, like, meet the Lord, but yeah.
Wow. Well, you said that you will I guess we're both juniors, in Clemson, and I didn't know if there's anything other than just, like, knowing the Lord's heart for his children. Is there anything
Mhm.
else that maybe this year you've just kinda, like, learned and poured into, like, Clemson's campus as well?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Over this past semester and like year, really, I've just been learning what it means to like be okay with having weaknesses and like asking for help. Because I feel like for the past, I've struggled with like perfectionism and just wanting to always be on it and like doing
Mhm.
great and just never have any weakness or never need help from anyone else. And the Lord's truly softened my heart to like asking for help and being okay with that and knowing that his power is made perfect like in my weaknesses, and so it's okay for me to like not always be so strong and like I
Mhm.
need to ask for help. And so I feel like me asking for help has really allowed God to fill that gap in my life,
Mhm.
of just not always having to be so strong. um,
Right.
but for like the Clemson campus side of things, I think one thing the Lord has just highlighted this year to me specifically is just my urgency to like be friends with my classmates and just
Mhm.
not just be friends to say hi and just like know them, but to truly like get to know them and
Yeah.
make them feel seen. And so basically, I came in this semester just so excited because as education majors, we kind of like follow each other. Our whole schedules are very similar.
Yeah.
So, I was very excited because I knew the exact, like, girls I was gonna be going through, like, every class with, and so I just sat beside one of my friends, and we were just talking, and I was like, "We should go to coffee," and so we
Oh,
started going to coffee, and so we started studying together, and it's just been so cool to, like, make friends with people and just see it
mhm.
as, like, a deeper relationship because I really do want them to, like, be impacted, and truly the Lord's also taught me to, like, share what my life is like and not just keep it to myself since I'm, like, growing in this growth season. I wanna make sure I'm, like, sharing it with people so that they're also, like, inspired and also encouraged to, keep deep diving with the Lord, but yeah.
Yeah. Wait, I love that. I think that's really encouraging for a lot of people. Like, I'm a
Mhm.
pure TM major, so, like, we're the same. We're very close knit together. And I think a lot of times, like, when they ask, like, "Oh, what do you wanna do with your life?" Like, I'm like, I don't know. Like, I have this podcast. Like, I would love to do something with that or, like, ministry." And, like,
Mhm.
sometimes I get really nervous because, like, it's athletes or it's, like, people like that, just talk about different things in
Yeah,
class, and you're like, "Well, what are they gonna think of me when, like, they know, like, I'm not a crazy partier or, like, I, like, am a Christian and, like, really believe that truly, like, live for the Lord." And so I think that's really, really encouraging because I feel like other people are like that where they wanna talk about just, like, their faith and, like, what they're learning and,
Yeah.
um, but they're afraid to. But half the time, like you're doing now, like, now you made, like, these great connections and friends out
Mhm.
of it, of just being real and for who you are and for the Lord, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for that encouragement.
Yeah.
And then I was trying to think, so you said okay, so New Spring internship. Do you do anything else on campus at all?
Trying to think, I was involved with SCA for a little bit before my internship. It's just now I spend a lot of my time
Yeah.
doing that and just prepping. But I also get to like serve with Fuse at New Spring, so that's
Okay,
also
cool.
another fun little thing I get to do. So I get to pour into some sweet little seventh graders,
Yeah.
girls. They're awesome. So
Aw, and do is there a lot of, like, kids that come to the Clemson campus for Fuse?
there's like 100 and something, I think.
Okay. Is
Um,
that a good amount, or is there
I
more
think
than
so.
other? Okay.
There's definitely, like, bigger campuses, but Clemson does have a good amount of students, and so
Okay.
it's really cool because we have our Fuse, like, Christmas party coming up, and so
Oh,
very
sweet.
excited for that, but yeah.
That's really sweet. I know, my friend Ella McGarity?
Yes,
Shout
love
out
her.
Ella. I told her that we were recording together, and she was like, "That she's so wise. She's amazing." I was like, "She is," because Ella, she came on my podcast, I think maybe my freshman year or sophomore year, and, like, she just had so much, like, wisdom on it too, and so I was like,
Mhm.
I can't wait that she's coming on too, and you guys are friends." And because she does Fuse, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that's
Yeah.
really sweet. Aw, well, I was trying to think, do you have anything else you wanna add? Maybe, like, encouragement for I know for college kids, like, it's okay to, like, get involved, and I think a
Mhm.
lot of people, like, stay close to just, like, college campus, like,
Mhm.
involvement, like, I know FCA and all that is great, but I, like, really would love to just learn more about how to get involved at New Spring,
Yeah.
maybe encouragement even for other churches of, like, just do it, and it might be scary, but just getting involved is just so fruitful.
Yeah. So my freshman year, I really did struggle a lot because I was not involved with anything yet. I kind of just stayed to like the people I knew, kind of like isolated myself a little
Yeah.
bit. And I just felt really alone and just felt like I was not being seen, was not being loved, except for like our FCA Bible study that met like once a week. Other than that, I was
Yeah.
kind of just like, solo
Wow.
doing the whole college thing. And I went home one weekend and I was just really encouraged by like, a lot of my friends who were still like at New Spring and they were still like being poured into. And I was like, I want that. I need to just do that.
Mm.
And so there's just something special in getting involved in a local church, no matter what church it is or what ministry or anything you're gifted in, just truly just getting involved and just starting to serve somewhere because the Lord has given everyone their specific gifts. And so the way that you're able to uniquely use those is just so special in a local church and just really pours into so many people that you don't even know yet. And so I think just getting involved anyway is just really awesome for a college student, especially as we're in a new town or in a same town that we grew up in or anything like that. But getting involved to just, serve in some capacity will truly bless you and just give you a deeper community as well. I know college community is really awesome and like you have people your same age, but there's something
Mhm.
truly special about being in a church that's like multi-generational so that you're able to be poured into by other generations as
Right.
well.
Yeah.
Truly some of the best conversations I've had have been with like older women who are like, 50 and 60 years old, but the way they like show the love of God to me and just like love me so well, and just really encourage me on like a weekly basis has just been amazing.
Right.
And so I would just really encourage any like college student who is just thinking about getting involved in a local church, please just, consider, even if you have like a year left, please consider doing that.
Yeah.
It'll just bless you more than you even know, and just give you a deeper community here in Clemson.
Right. That's so good. And I feel like I hear a lot of people like talk about how like they go to church but they don't feel seen. They feel like it's too big or like there's too many people they know there. And it's just like
Mm,
I feel like with the people that do get involved finally feel connected and feel known and feel seen and
mhm.
it's honestly a fruitful thing. And I can't wait. Like next semester I told myself I would love to start getting involved. So maybe kids spring, maybe fuse. I'm like praying about it right now. But I want to go through the connect class and
Yes,
then
that's
do
a great
it.
class to go to.
So, yeah, my roommate, she, serves for Kids Spring, so she always,
Yes,
like, talks about it, and she loves it, and so I'm just excited for that because I feel like you can step into a church, and it is scary, like, coming from, like, not being in college, and if you were a Christ believer before, like, college, like, you go to
Yeah.
church on Sundays with your family, and it's like your family knows the parents of the church, and then you talk to the kids, and it's like you're connected that way, but then when you step, like, into the unknown of, like, a really big church or, like, a church that everyone knows everyone, but you just feel, like, so, like, lost almost, it's, like,
Mhm.
really nerve-wracking, so I feel like that's very encouraging to get involved, when people feel like they don't feel like they know anyone, and you
Mhm.
learn a lot. I, like freshman year, I led worship for Life Point, and that was really sweet and just, like, stepping out of my comfort zone. So, I'm excited for New Spring, I really wanna pray about it, I'll probably talk to you after the podcast to see,
Yeah.
like, what's, like, fun to serve in. And
Mhm.
question too, for the people that do, like, if they wanna serve and they have, like, a New Spring campus, like, in their town, can they serve there too?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a great question. So if you're, like, going to college in Clemson, but, like, you have a new spring that's in, like, your city that you
Yeah.
live in for home, you can definitely serve there too. You can just probably talk to whatever ministry you're serving in and
Yeah,
just let
okay.
them know, like, "Hey, I go to Clemson, I'm serving here, but I would also love to serve, like, here
Yeah.
while you're home for, like, winter break or summer break." So, yeah.
Wait, that's so sweet. Aw, well, to wrap up, I would love to just, maybe ask you, like, do you have, like, one advice if you could tell, like, a freshman that's coming into Clemson that is, like, about to go in their sophomore year or their 2nd semester, sorry, of their freshman year, do you have any advice for them at all?
Um, I think really just take a leap of faith in whatever the Lord
Mhm.
is speaking to you because He's gonna provide a way no matter what. And honestly, as long as you just keep walking in obedience, He's gonna continue to open doors and close doors. And so, truly, just stepping into a leap of faith and just knowing that He's gonna be faithful, and just truly, unapologetically being you, and just letting that lead the way too. So, yeah.
That's so good. I know I used to, like, serve as a chaplain for my sorority, and so there's a lot of freshmen that would come, and I'd always tell them, like, nothing is, like, supposed to be perfect, and, like,
Mhm.
everything happens for a reason, and, like, the Lord's plan, like, once you trust that, then you start to see, like, oh, when that thing happened, like, and when one door closes, another one opens, and you start seeing the fruit from that. And
Mhm.
it's so cool because I feel like freshman year, like, I mean, you've probably seen the same thing that you just mature so much. Like,
Yeah.
looking back at freshman year, I'm like, I am not the same person, like,
Yeah.
at all. Like, I was a baby freshman year.
Yeah.
It is just crazy to see that, and now to see, like, the freshmen out here and,
Mhm.
like, being there for them and wanting to, like, show them how to grow and find the fruit through that, so thank you
Yeah.
for that encouragement. Well, thank you for coming on and just talking everything about serving in New Spring, and I hope if anyone's listening and wanna get involved, especially at New Spring, like, I'll drop Rachel's Instagram, and then you can DM her, and
Yeah.
also I'll, like, link New Spring's, like, church too. If anyone, like, is out of state listening and wants to just check out the church, they do, like, online church at, like, home, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Okay, that's what I was thinking. So, I know I have some listeners from, like, Maine and stuff listening, so if they wanna check that out too,
Yeah.
but I just love just everything you've talked about, and I just hope people listening will just understand, just the importance of serving and knowing that, like, we're here to help other people and to pour the love of the Lord for other people, and it's just so fruitful when you step out of your comfort zone and say yes to the Lord's call in your life, so
Mhm.
well, thank you again, and thank you everyone for listening. Alright, bye guys, we'll see you next week.